I returned to Jigstøl, emboldened with my newfound unlife. I made short order of my would-be assassins. There is a moment when the last heartbeat of a dying man fades, where silence does not yet reign. It is a moment filled instead with revelation. That night, under a blood-weeping moon, as I drained the life of my murderers and watched their souls flicker into nothingness, I did not feel shame or remorse. I felt power and hunger. The bloodlust clawed at me like an old friend long unacknowledged. It whispered truths into my ears, sang lullabies of murder and whispers of eternity. The corpses crumpled beneath me, as empty as I had been, but no longer. I had been reborn, not by divine grace, but by violent necessity. And my thirst had only just begun. The night welcomed me. Where once I had feared shadows, now they were my allies. I moved beneath the trees with a natural grace, my senses sharpened to the sound of every trembling heartbeat in the woods. The fog twisted through the gnarled branches, a ghostly veil parting before me. I no longer stumbled, I stalked. Each footfall a silent oath to the world that I, Kain, had risen anew. My newfound senses were an ever-expanding symphony of awareness. I could hear the wings of a bat fluttering in the distance, feel the heartbeat of vermin through the damp earth. The wind carried the scent of life, of prey. The iron-sweet perfume of blood hung thick, a lure and a promise. Yet with each step away from my tomb, a deeper hunger gnawed at me, not merely for blood, but for understanding. Why had I been cursed to this fate? Who had twisted death into unlife and condemned me to walk in darkness? The voice of Mortanius echoed still in my memory, cryptic and cold. I would have answers, but first I would have sustenance. The road ahead wound through the decaying lands near Jigstøl. The village itself now lay dormant beneath the choking mists. A graveyard stood ever vigilant, a silent necropolis teeming with corpses and secrets. A fitting cradle for a creature such as I. I descended into the burial crypts, the chill air heavy with mildew and rot. Broken coffins lay scattered, their occupants half devoured by time. My fingers traced the cracked runes along the walls, the language of death now as familiar to me as breath once had been. Here, in the deep recesses of Nosgoth's forgotten earth, I would meet those who preyed on the dead, and remind them that death was no longer the final word. A foul stench preceded them. Ghouls, twisted remnants of humanity, desecrating tombs for carrion. They scuttled like insects, blind in their greed, unaware of the predator that now hunted them. They never stood a chance. I emerged from the shadows like judgment incarnate. My claws, newly grown and razor-sharp, tore through rancid flesh with contemptuous ease. Their shrieks echoed through the crypt, but no saviour would come. The walls, stained by centuries of funerary incense and candle smoke, bore witness to my slaughter. I fed amidst the carnage, the ghouls' corrupted blood offering little satisfaction, but sating the fire just enough to think. In their den I found weapons long interred, a blade of silver and rust, useless against the living, but not against the shambling dead. I took it. Its weight was a comfort, not a knight's sword, no, but a butcher's cleaver, fitting. I passed deeper into the tomb, drawn onward by the scent of old magic. A sealed chamber, hidden behind a broken funerary statue, yielded a font of necromantic energy, raw and pulsing. I reached toward it, and it reached back. The moment our essences touched, I felt a surge through my body, as though the crypt itself recognized me, not as intruder, but as heir. Through this arcane wellspring, I felt my strength deepen. My wounds, small though they were, sealed. My senses expanded yet again. I could hear the heartbeat of every rat in the stone, taste the decay in the air, see through the darkness as if it were noon. I emerged from the tomb drenched in blood and night, the mist hissing away from my flesh. My blackened armour glistened under the cold moonlight, and I knew, with grim certainty, that I could never again walk in the sun's embrace. The dawn no longer belonged to me, only the night held my name. Still, questions burned in my mind. The crypt had yielded strength, but not truth. Mortanius had set me upon this path, but his reasons were shrouded in riddles. Why me? Why had he chosen my death as the key to rebirth? Was I a pawn? A weapon? Or worse, a sacrifice? As I travelled westward, drawn by whispers in the blood and the faint pull of ancient magic, I began to sense it, a beacon in the blackened sky, a call older than death. The pillars, the spine of Nosgoth. They loomed on the edge of every tale I half remembered, monuments to the power that once was. Even in undeath they summoned me, not with words but with purpose. Through blasted fields and decayed woodlands I pressed on. Wolves scattered before me, sensing their superior. Bandits dared not draw steel, their courage fleeing before my gaze. I was no longer prey in this world. I was predator perfected. On the seventh night, as I scaled the ridge beyond Malhenth, I saw them. The pillars of Nosgoth. They rose from the earth like the fingers of a dying god, grasping at a sky long since blackened. Each stone was a monument to lost virtue, now cracked in bleeding shadow. They pulsed with a sickly eminence, and yet, beneath the corruption, I felt something call to me. Something old. Something bound to my fate. I descended slowly, drawn by gravity not of the earth, but of destiny. There, beneath those silent sentinels, I would learn the truth of my resurrection. There, Nosgoth's wounds would speak, and I would listen. But that tale belongs to another night.